Bronson Marsh with Marshall Elite Performance. Today I want to talk to you guys about training intensities and recovery and trying to find that sweet spot, that balance for optimal results in the gym. I'm going to have 3 different graphs here. I'm going to talk about too easy training intensity, too hard training intensity, and then optimal training intensity, and then talk a little bit about recovery and why that's so important to finding that optimal results-driven program. On this axis, on the graphs, this is going to be performance or work capacity. And if we do the right things, we should see, that performance increase over time on this axis. This first one, this is good. It's not a bad thing. It's just we're not optimizing our workouts, or not optimizing our recovery for the best results. So that's going to look kind of like this. So this first line here that I'm drawing, this is fatigue that comes from the workout. So this is fatigue. Our performance is actually going to decline while we're doing the workout. And then over time, this is recovery. And that should come back up here. If we wait too long before that next workout, so this is workout 1. If we wait too long before we work out again, that performance will decrease back to the baseline. This is our optimal area for that second workout. Over time, if we do this, this should slowly increase and see an increase in performance over time. The second one I want to talk about, this is the one that we're looking for. This is what we want with our programs or with our workouts. Here's that first workout, number 1, that stimulus. It's going to have a little bit more fatigue, but a greater increase in performance. If you wait too long, that'll come back down here. So this will be where we want workout number 2, and if you do the correct things, you're actually going to see a greater increase in performance. The last one, this is one that I see often, more often than not actually. People work out really, really hard, really intense, for a workout, but to the point where they're not able to recover enough because that fatigue is so low, even if they're doing the right things, or it takes too long to recover. So they actually have to wait too much time. They're so sore, it takes them 3 or 4 days, and a lot of times they just end up quitting. So here's that workout number 1. Great fatigue. Usually don't even have enough time or enough recovery to get back up to that baseline. This is the one that we don't want. So what I want to talk about is recovery and why this is so important to find this optimal training stimulus. So this is our fatigue, but if we do the right things, that increase back in that performance, this is our recovery. If we are not doing all the right things with this recovery, we will never hit our optimal performance. And that's why I want to stress this so much. Recovery, things that we do for that. If you're not doing these things, that is your number 1 goal. We need to make sure we're doing pre and post-workout fuel. So meaning a pre-workout meal, a post-workout meal, to make sure we're having enough energy or the right energy to have a great workout, to be able to withstand those intensities and that fatigue that we're going to have, and then also to be able to recover back after that workout. And that's number 1. 2 is making sure we have an adequate amount of sleep. We want to have 7 to 8 hours a night. If we're not sleeping, our body's not recovering. We're going to stay, We're not going to be able to increase as much with that recovery. Another couple of things, getting adequate amounts of water. Our water is the most important part of our body. Our bodies are made up close to 70% of water, and that's going to allow our bodies to function properly, to release toxins and those bad things from our body, and just to help us function and recover properly. Another thing is making sure we're getting nutrient-dense food. We're getting enough calories. If we're not getting enough food, enough calories, or good food, we're not going to be aiding that recovery process as well. And then lastly, more active things that you can do, foam rolling, stretching, meditating, doing those things, sauna, doing those things that are going to help the body feel good. Maybe not the most important, but they will help a little bit. So that's number 1. If we're not doing that, we are not getting the greatest adaptation that we can. So to kind of tie this all back together, to get optimal training performance increases, we need to make sure that we're not overtraining or undertraining, getting just enough stress, but also that we're recovering as much as we can within our control. How do we find this at Marshall Elite Performance? A couple things that we do that help us with that is we ask a lot of questions. At the beginning of a workout, we try to see what stress level that athlete or that kid is at currently, and everything in life plays a factor in those stresses. You know, home life, school life. Do they have a bunch of tests? Is it finals week? Are they in a bunch of practices? If they're having a lot of external stress outside of the gym, we might not train them quite as hard that day. That way we can remain in that optimal training place. We want to stay somewhere in between these two where they're still relatively going to increase as long as they recover properly. The more stress, the more fatigue they're going to feel. Okay, the more stress, and if we train them really hard, the deeper they're going to dive into that decreased performance, and then it's going to be harder for them to get back up into that new baseline. Another thing that we do is after every workout, we do something called, we get their RPEs, their rate of perceived exertion from the workout. And that's what I do to monitor to make sure athletes are not overtraining, they're not getting too much stress in the gym, and then they can actually keep improving that performance. So if I have athlete A that has the last couple of weeks have been saying all the workouts have been a 9 and I'm not seeing slowly gradual increases in their performance, that lets me know I'm pushing them a little too hard. And then same on the other side, if an athlete's been saying, hey, this workout's been a 4 or a 5, and they're maybe seeing a little bit of gains, but not that much, that's gonna allow me to push them a little bit harder as long as their form and technique is correct. So those are the things that to try to find the right training intensity. Number one thing, if we're not doing those things to recover, we're not gonna maximize our performance. And we always wanna make sure we're not training too hard because we'll actually end up seeing a decline in performance over time because oftentimes we're not doing all the right things to recover, so you're actually seeing a decrease in performance. Hope that makes sense to you guys. Hope you learned something. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.